What's going on, everybody? It is me. I am Quill and all the fish, and I'm here for my hosting shift for the first time ever. And I get some claps in the chat. I'm very excited for speed docs today. I'm very excited for this whole marathon. Yesterday was fantastic. I only got to catch the beginning of it before I had some life things to do, but you know. The beginning of it was quite good. I very much enjoyed it. And today, I'm very excited to be hosting for KeyWe. I didn't tell anybody, but I actually really wanted to host for this game because my wife and I played it just a couple months ago. And hearing that Bowden was going to do one controller for controlling both of the KeyWes, you guys are in for a treat watching this run. Doing some of the speedruns there for the in-game speedruns with my wife was super hard. So seeing Bowden being able to do this is going to be amazing. And watching him race against two people playing in co-op is going to be fantastic. I hope you all are ready for that. But yeah, even after that, we got Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, Any Percent by Glam. Very excited for that one as well. We have an incentive for that for naming the Yoshi. We have an incentive for Super Metroid Ascent to save or kill the animals. And then also a little bit later we got Wheel of Fortune bonus round and New Super Mario Bros. Wii 99 Lives run. So those are two bonuses. So if you guys get your donations in, we can see those and we can see different names and save or kill the animals. I'm very excited to see where those go. And just so you know, when you donate on Tiltify, you get to choose both an incentive and a poll. So you get to choose for each of these things. If you want to do Wheel of Fortune and name the Yoshi, then you can do both of those. So very good thing there. And yeah, there's the new thing for prizes. Thank you, Gaffy, for posting that prizes link. Prizes are the big thing that we got new for this year. You can enter with no purchase necessary by filling out that Google form. And if you do make a donation, you can just click the little button. It'll say you get to select prize. I'm using hand motion. You guys can't see me. You get to select whatever tier that you would like to be eligible for, and then you get automatically entered based on your donation. So you will be in either way that you do it. You can only do one or the other. But yeah, I'm hoping that we get some good donations in here soon. And I'm very excited to be helping with promoting Save the Children. Save the Children, quite a good charity. If you couldn't tell from their name, they save the children. And for just $50, you can supply a home water filter so that girls spend their day in school and not fetching water around the world. And it's very good to be able to help out these children. Save the Children does such a great job. They have so many different ways that they are helping out and keeping everybody alive and well. And then on the other hand, we also want you to know about Speed Docs', everything that they've got going on. So did you know that Speed Docs has a Patreon? It's a well-kept secret, but they do, and it's pretty cool. If you help out the Speed Docs team with $1, $3, or $5 for every video released, you can help them out for $1, $3, or $5 tiers to support every video released by going to the link that Shu just posted in chat. Hi, Shuly. Oh, Crunchy Brown's here too. What up, what up? Very excited to see all the people in the chat. I love hanging out with you guys every Speed Docs event. Oh yeah, I guess I could introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, I am Quill and all the fish, aka Quill, aka Fish if you're Shuli. I don't mind that, by the way. Keep calling me Fish. There's several people that do, but Shuli, it always makes me happy to see Fish and then the little Shuli love emote every time. There it is. Aw. Anyways, so I'm a speedrunner as well. You'll see me later in the marathon. I speedrun Chameleon Twist. I'll be doing a race of Chameleon Twist 1 with Cyanide Gunner next Monday for weekend 2. And then Chameleon Twist 2 is being run by Run in a Week tomorrow. And I'll be hosting / commentating for that run as well. But also, I've picked up a new game, and you guys are going to see it for the first time at this marathon. It's called Super Sammy Roll. It's a very, very fun game. Very, very fast-paced and action-heavy for some great platforming action. And I really hope you guys can make it out to that one. It's going to be a very good run. Very excited to do that. So chat, what run are you most excited for today? I think I've made this pretty clear already, but I am most excited for KeyWe. I think it's just from the most recent playing I had of it. But, like, Clock, you're Australian, so I think you had to pick this by default. You are Australian, right? I'm not crazy, am I? I'm pretty sure. Alright. But I think other than that, I'm probably most excited for Mario Galaxy. I think Mario Galaxy is a pretty cool run. Yeah, that is pretty neat. I'm sure we'll hear about it soon. But on Boden's side, we have a runner from Germany. On the team's side, Alecat and Nicosar, we have Australians. We have a commentator that's from the UK, and then we have me from the US. So it's a very international event that we have going on right now for this next run. Yo, Nightbot coming in with the stat.live. I would like to mention that is the new Speed Docs website that they have going on, and it looks pretty nice. I actually, don't tell anybody, but I got a sneak preview at it, and I liked it then. I like it now that it actually is live, and I'm very excited for the prizes. What prizes do we have going on today? I'm going to click on this link to find out. Wow, what an easy navigation. I clicked it and then clicked the prize button. Yeah, there's the Flying Squirrel Mario plush. I know we saw these yesterday via CJ's Prize Corner big reveal. But they got some Flying Squirrel Mario plushie, Mario 3D All-Stars game, the CC shirt and Speed Docs pin set that are no longer available anywhere but here. Persona 5 poster, and then there's the Weekend 1 grand prize of the brand new Elgato Wave 3 microphone. And then there's the full week grand prize of the Elgato Stream Deck. If you want to get that, then be sure to donate for it or fill out the form. Alright guys, it looks like we are about ready, so I will see you on the other side.
أول cunto nooc kasta aan jiray hadda bariis gaar cunaya
cunto igu filan iyo haysan biyo igu filan aniga walaashay iyo hooyadayda waan cunto laana waa gaajoonaya.
All right, everybody, we are back. And I would like to just go ahead and throw it away to Lithify.
Thank you very much for that introduction there, Quill. I'd like to give a brief introduction to the runners, if I may, before we get things started. We are very lucky here on nearly the anniversary of the release of KeyWe, which is on Wednesday coming up. To be blessed by first time on stream for a marathon, a race between our co-op world record holders on the right, Alecat and Nicosar, and then our solo world record holder on the left, Bowden, who's actually also our overall full run world record holder as of 6 days ago, when he put in a fantastic time, I have to say, incredible stuff. So we're going to see, obviously, the really exciting race here. First time ever, as I say. You'll see a lot of the similar styles. There isn't that much different in the necessary technique and completion, but obviously how co-op and single player have to adjust to deal with difficulties at different points is going to be shown. So we'll get into that in just as we get into the run. But first of all, if the runners are ready, we're going to count them down to begin the race. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, race. So we're getting to the first level here. I like to think of the levels in KeyWe as categories almost. There's 5 different types. This first one is what I like to call a keyboard level. So you'll see, obviously, it's almost as in a QWERTY keyboard layout initially. You might see some fun and interesting developments as we get into the later levels. Alecat and Nicosar have a fantastic first phrase, by the way. This is exactly what you would look for when you're trying to do an individual level speed run. But then they've been done over a little bit by their second phrase. So for this level, we've got 6 different phrases, iterations available to us. There are 3, obviously, that you need. You can see in the top left that we're looking for the goal, and there are 4 ideal ones we're looking for. So about 66% of them are really ideal for speed. Alecat and Nicosar have got 1 out of their 2, and this one's a little bit slow as well, but it's not too bad. Bowden's been really lucky and got 2 out of 3 being perfect. He's got a perfect trifecta actually here, Bowden, so it's no pressure to him here as he tries to complete this. And I'll try and keep you guys up to date on where we're looking at in terms of total pace for the run. As you see, even though he started a little bit later, he's got a fantastic time there, a 51.98. A sub 52 is amazing. That's only 0.3 behind the world record for that level. And
That's insane.
It's absolutely insane. And that's his own world record as well. It's a 51.71.
Lithify, I was telling the chat while I was in that intermission there that I played this with my wife, and so a lot of these speedruns, getting the gold medal is difficult. And the game gets more difficult as you go on, of course, but seeing Bowden put up a time like that is just ridiculous to me. In a marathon, too. What a madman.
Indeed, in a no reset situation, getting the RNG is one thing, executing it is another thing entirely. It's very impressive. And then we've moved on to the second level. So just to talk about how the levels in KeyWe are split up, there's 36 levels in total. There's 3 seasons, no spring, just summer, fall, and winter. They each have 12 levels apiece of various makeups. You'll see, obviously, we've got the second type of level here. It's what I like to call cut-up messages. You can obviously see the little different pieces of the words, the phrases you're given at the top of the screen, delivered to us by the cassowaries for our lovely bustling Kiwis. And then you have to obviously go and pick them up in sequence, put them on here, and then stomp on the toaster in time as well. So it has to be obviously joined up. Bit easier for single player, in my opinion, to hit the buttons at the same time compared to co-op. Another wonderful time there from Bowden, and you see Alecat and Nicosar are all caught up. We're all still very close going into our third level, and we'll see a different type of level with this. I'm interested, Quill, in yourself as well, playing through this with your wife. Is there any sort of level that you particularly enjoyed when you were playing through this?
Yeah, I'd say that this type of level was probably our least favorite overall. It seemed to be the most samey, because there's going to be some variation that you'll see throughout the game. But I'd say that the thing that we haven't seen yet, the next level, would probably be my favorite.
Interesting.
And then some of the keyboard levels get so wild that even after like getting pretty decent at the game, we still failed them. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Bowden and Nicosar and Alecat tackle those levels and how they can keep up with a lot of the RNG and the stuff that they're different issues that'll be there, and seeing the communication that happens for the team there.
Absolutely. And then what you will have seen on that, if some of our more keen-eyed viewers out there, you'll have seen that both teams ended up with the same 3 sets. So they also had this 6 iterations there that you can get in total in the game, but there's only 3 on a blank save. So we always do a full run of KeyWe on a fresh save file. And there's a couple of times where it's fixed phrases, or in that case, fixed iterations that we get. So it's the same 3 for both of them. So you can sort of pre-plan a lot of your movements there. So you'll see very fast times. You'll so they're both sub 50 seconds. The record is sub 40. So not super fast, but still really good solid times from both teams there. So I believe you said it was this next setup, this parcel and letter, that were your and your wife's favourite, Quill.
Yeah.
So is it? How did you end up splitting up? Did you end up sort of like both doing both sets of jobs? Did one of you do the parcels? One of you do the letters?
Yeah, I'm definitely a box guy, so I did the boxes, and then she did everything else. But I mean, when we finished one and then had to help each other, we, speed up the process by getting to the other one. But I always started on boxes, and she always started on letters.
Understandable, and that is an amazing time, by the way. That's only 5 seconds off the world record. And if I go against Alecat and Nicosar's world record, that's actually 20 seconds faster than what they did in their current full-run world record on that level. I think you're right, though. What you bring up is a good point on those sort of parcel and letter levels. That's personally what I and my running partner, Kurtel, like to do, is we split up and then I'll focus mainly on the parcels and he'll do a lot of the letters. And it's I think that's one of the advantages you get on those levels. Generally, on an average as co-op, is that you can split it up. Obviously, you can't slight Bowden at all for controlling both characters at the same time. Splitting that controller down the middle and still being able to focus on both is an absolutely stunning achievement.
I remember turning to my wife after we looked at like the options menu after we had beaten the game and then looked at the options menu, which was just absolute intelligence from me there. But I looked at it and there was the option for the split controller or split keyboard or whatever, and oh my goodness, I immediately panicked that even existed as an option, because this game was so hard to keep track of everything as one person, or as two people, let alone one person controlling two characters. So huge props to Bowden for even attempting to do this, much less being this good at it.
Absolutely. I'm quite a seasoned speedrunner with a really small community for obviously such a small indie co-op game. But I was playing this from the demo with my running partner, and we really, really were excited for it to come out. And even then, I've tried doing it solo. It's not possible in my mind. I cannot fathom how to do it. It's a completely different form of the game. Like, it technically requires the same obviously execution, but the thought process and how you actually go about applying that to the controller is a whole nother level, in my opinion. And here we are on 6, so this will put us in halfway through summer. This is also fixed 3 phrases on this fresh save that we do for a full run. So the first and the third phrases are perfect, I believe it is. For us, they're actually 2 of the ideal 4, but it's the second one, I think, that's the... yes, it is. It's the second one. That's really long. It's actually the longest phrase of the 6. So it does slow us down technically, but because you know where to go, you can really focus down on that perfect execution of the level and the absolutely perfect platforming. I should know, because although myself and my partner have the world record for the co-op, Bowden actually has a faster time than us on this on an individual level doing this solo. Which is truly amazing. I don't know how
What
he's
a
done
guy.
it, but he's got it down to an absolute art. So it's always nice to see. As he's trying to obviously pick up from the previous round where they lost a bit of time.
So you were mentioning that those are set phrases. Are any of the other levels set in any way?
No, so that's it. That's just our last 2. That is. So it's the 3rd and the 6th level. The rest of it is just going to be purely RNG from here on out.
Oh wow, that's gonna make it much hard. I'm freaking out for Boat. How is he doing this?
Absolutely. Because obviously you'll see if we look at his screen here, he's obviously got his one KeyWe focused on typing out the locations. You've got you see on the map down the bottom left, you've got the 4 number locations to send to a place. So each parcel coming in here will have a location it needs to go to, but it also needs a sticker that obviously denotes a property about it. In the medicine bottle there, it's urgent. You need to get the medicine there urgent. You could have something else that's fragile. I believe we had a fossil earlier that was fragile. There might be something that's particularly heavy as well. We've got perishable is our 4th variety of sticker there. And yeah, having to keep track of that in your head and know how much, what needs to go where and what sticker it needs applying is incredible. And then, like you say, especially as a single player, to not just know where that is, but master both KeyWes to complete both tasks at the same time. Amazing. Another really, really good time from Alecat and Nicosar there. I think that was only a second behind the world record, if I remember correctly. I think it was quite fast.
Yeah, I know we have been mentioning Bowden quite a bit about playing with two characters in one controller, one person. But I also want to give a huge shout out. I know we can't hear either of the runners currently, but a huge shout out to Nicosar and Alecat for like all their communication skills and planning that they have for this run. And you were saying that this is going to be all RNG from here on out. They have to communicate to be able to know who's doing what, who's going to be where, what times, and that can be just as difficult of a skill to master. So,
it can be. And it's also the other interesting thing is I can speak to this from experience that sometimes actually you can do it without communication. If you've done it for so long, it almost becomes like a sixth sense, and you know what the other person is going to do to a point. And it can even get to that situation where a bit of communication as a co-op runner can actually throw the other person off almost, because they're so focused on what they thought they were doing and what was best, that they might actually get mixed up, and you can slow yourselves down. So it's not just about knowing what to do, both of you, but also how and when to communicate can be the tricky thing. So, but both the single player and the co-op have some positives and negatives about their playstyle, and we can really see that in how close they are. They've basically finished at this point, all matched up. They're at the same time, effectively, and that's because some levels will work better for one style than the other on average, even though the world records on both, when we try and grind them down on an IL basis, end up being very, very close.
Speaking of things that are close, the opposite, what's not close is how close we are to the new Super Mario Bros. Wii bonus 99 lives run. But we did get a $40 donation from an anonymous source who left no comment towards that incentive. So if you want to see that, join in on that anonymous donor's mission.
Thank you very much. And here we start to see how things are going to change through KeyWe at this point. So like we had in our second level, we had the cut-off messages. It's got a little bit dusty in summer here, and we've got sandstorms, high winds. They're obviously rearranging all your best laid plans for where you've got everything, all your letter pieces cut up, and can obviously throw your KeyWes for a bit of a spin. And all over the place, we are going to have, I hate to spoil it for you, a few more weather problems coming on down the line to interfere with our best friends KeyWes and their postal completions. And now this is actually quite a good time to talk about something that we won't see in this run. But you can do it as part of a casual playthrough of the game, or even if you do want to run it, a full collectibles run of the game, because there are collectibles in this game. You've got hats, there are also shoes in DLC, things such as this, and different skins for the KeyWes. So this is one of, I believe it's 12 levels that have collectibles that you can get. As you'll see, there's that light shining through in the bottom right of the screen. You'll probably see it most prominently on Alecat and Nicosar's screen, and it's shining on a little red peg that you can see they can interact with if they run over it. And what that starts, and the different collectible processes are different on each level. It's almost Indiana Jones-esque, with shining mirrors from that light to different points and bouncing it around the map until it opens up a secret compartment, and that gives you your collectible that you can unlock and then equip to your KeyWe. Because we use a fresh save file, we don't have access to that many collectibles, so you'll see it actually lends itself to differentiating the two KeyWes for the two players in the best way we can. with the rainbow KeyWe and then just the plain KeyWe as well, so you can more easily separate and identify the players. But when you're playing it through more casually, there's a whole host of different combination of things: hats, skins, glasses, like I say, shoes as well. There's little arms, little T-Rex arms, or little big burly arms as well, like in some sort of strong man KeyWe almost. Really, really fun. It's a really nice addition that you can sort of customize yourself in that way. I don't know if you had any favorite customization that you used when you played through Quill.
Yeah, I don't remember what my absolute favorite was, but I usually, when I play a game with my wife, to make her laugh, I end up making the ugliest character creation possible. So I usually had like things like the puffy KeyWe, or I think there's one with a mohawk,
Yes,
and then like having a box around him but a snowman head, or something like that. Just random dumb things to make him look real stupid.
That's fantastic. That reminds me a lot of my running partner, who would do the same to me to crack me up as well. It would completely throw me off. It's great fun. My favourite setup was almost like what I'd call a gardening KeyWe. And it was a little kakapo, which is a flightless parrot. It's a green flightless parrot. And it was that with a little gardening hat and a little gardening backpack on as well, which I thought was quite sweet. Nicely thematic. And here we are into the final level of summer. As you can see, the kudzu is everywhere. It's invaded all of our keyboard here, and it's got perilous vines which are ready to eat our KeyWes, and it will set you back around about 5 seconds unless the other KeyWe comes and saves you. So make sure not to tread too carefully, or make sure to tread carefully, not too close to them. And you also see Bowden has picked one of those flowers up in his mouth, because they do try and pop out some letters, or they try and press down on the shift key, or even they can delete letters you've already input as well. So you have to keep an eye on this tricky plant while trying to go as fast as possible.
Yeah, these guys are very annoying. Definitely got eaten by them too many times. Interesting to see not getting eaten by them. I don't think either or any of the runners have gotten hit by him yet.
Oh, as we're just getting Bowden completing, no, we should be safe. So that's fantastic. Always a tricky one. I definitely fly a bit too close to the sun on that one, and have been eaten far too many a time. So we're into fall now. You'll see we skip through the cutscene. The way we do the full run timing is actually by in-game timing. So it's just on the level completion time. So loads and everything don't count. But still, we're not going to see the little cutscenes. But they are very cute, nice to enjoy when you can play through the game. I definitely encourage you, if you are interested, to give it a shot and enjoy the fun little intermissions. And as we enter fall, we see one of the first big changes and developments. Before, when we were doing the parcels for the cranes, we only had to put one sticker on. Now the parcels have 2 attributes about them, so they could be perishable, urgent, heavy, fragile, any combination of those 4 things. And also, the other thing to note is that the goal in the top left. Before, all through summer, we only ever needed 3 items to complete a level, but now we need 4. Sometimes we will still need 3, but in the majority, we are going to need 4. So it does increase the level time a little bit, and a bit more of the difficulty. We'll see how they handle this. They're both flying at the moment.
Yeah, it's also interesting to point out that the items that can come down in every level, they are a similar set of items. I think there might be like 6 or 7 for this set of 4 that you need. Something like that. I don't know the exact numbers. But they are the same types of items, so they don't have to read these letters because they've memorized all of them, I would imagine. Correct me if I'm wrong on anything.
No, you're absolutely right. So what the runners will know is when the item comes down, they know exactly the location they need to send it to, so what they'll be typing in. And in fact, as they finish sending one item and getting on to sending the next, what they'll do is often gamble a little bit based on how many, because there's only 5 locations you can send something to. If they haven't had something to a location, it's got maybe 2 things that go there. They might gamble on the law of averages that they're more likely to get something that's going there, and actually pre-type a location sticker to put on the front of the box. It's hedging your bets a little bit. Can save you just 2 or 3 seconds here and there, but obviously when you're trying to squeeze out every little advantage you can, you've got to gamble now and then. Now, Alecat and Nicosar have ended up with one of my favourite phrases in one of these levels, which is alpaca sweaters for sale. It's just lovely. It's you can really conjure up an image of the world with a lot of these letters that are being sent, and especially a lot of the letters being sent to the same people. So I won't try and spoil any of those, but you can see a little bit of a storyline going out through the seasons to some of the people that you're sending letters to. So that's worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I agree heavily on that. It's very fun reading the messages and then going, didn't we have something about this earlier?
Yeah, and there is quite a few of that, and it's not even necessarily in the same type of level. So if you're sending a letter to someone in a cut-up message level like this, you'll still have another different parcel going to them in one of the parcels and letters bit. Maybe there'll be a parcel that you need to crane out to them, so they can get all different types of packages going here, there, and everywhere. And with this, because it looks like Alecat and Nicosar have got a sort of like 1 send lead here, so that's probably about a 15-20 second advantage at the moment. It's not much at all. I was looking, actually, and I was timing out their respective splits at the end of summer, fall, and winter earlier, and they're almost identical for their summer and fall total splits within their respective world records. They were only 8 and 6 seconds apart, and that's obviously the 12 levels combined. So there's still lots of backwards and forwards here to happen.
For sure. And on that last level, we saw like a word cutter. So that's something that's going to appear in later versions of the sticky. What'd you call them?
Cut up messages. Messages ones. Yeah. Oh no! Sorry, I've just seen a terrible phrase for Alecat and Nicosar: ginger tarts for auction. It's one of my most hated ones. I think it's so long for this level. It does take quite a while.
Yeah, and those letters are pretty split. And you want to talk about how the letters are moving?
Indeed, this is the difference for fall and winter now. It's not an easy, nice, comfortable season like summer is. As you will see, a lot of the letters will be moving around. So especially, there we just had it as well. In the top left and the bottom right, things will move around. The letters either side of the sending station as well, you'll also see they're not set up like a QWERTY keyboard anymore, and it isn't going to be that way. The levels will start out laid out like a QWERTY keyboard, but they will very quickly become mixed up, and trying to keep track of that and how you deal with it is a very interesting matter. I know there's differing of opinion in what's the most efficient and easiest way to do it. How I end up splitting it with Kurtal is I end up doing the left-hand side of the board, and he does the right-hand side and sort of like the upper bit of the board, and that's how we split it. I know Alecat and Nicosar tend to do the same, but oftentimes they'll end up switching roles, and that can get quite hectic in my experience, but they handle it very well. They are very much the masters of handling the pressure.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the hardest pieces, because you'll be looking at your side of the board, and that's kind of how my wife and I did it too. You'll look at the board and go, okay, I don't see it on my side, and then the letters will switch, and it will be on your side, but in a place that you've already looked, and then you'll miss it, and then you start losing all your time, and then you don't get the gold medal on the level, and you're sad about it, and you have to do the whole thing again.
It's such a common problem. It happens to the best of us, honestly. That's not just a thing that just happens because you think, oh, I'm not that experienced or anything. It will happen, and we'll see it happen in these runs as well. Is that you might be running straight to a letter, and just as you get there before you can input it, it switches and goes exactly to the other side of the board. It definitely feels cursed and very unfair at points.
You're bringing up past anger in me.
I'm sure. I'm trying to stay calm and zen about it myself because it does happen too frequently.
So as somebody that watches these runs a lot, would you say that you have seen either side of this competition get silvers and not reach the gold occasionally in their runs?
I haven't seen it in a very, 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 very long time, and I wouldn't expect to see it. I expect we'll see golds across the board by quite a way. A lot of the levels, especially some of the easier ones, the times that we'll be scoring here for both of them on the run will be actually under half of the gold medal time. So say a gold medal's a 2-minute timer, they'll be under a minute. And this is common for most of the levels, really. There's a couple of points where if you do make mistakes, you can get very close, but it's a bit unusual. There's one particularly tricky one later, which I'll point out. But both these players have got much better at doing it. I know it's something I still struggle with a bit, I must confess. But no, I don't think we're going to see a silver medal today.
Gotcha. That's extremely impressive with all the RNG that the runners are dealing with, especially.
No, absolutely. We've actually the first 2 sets of phrases for both of these on this night post, where you see we've got the added difficulty of only sometimes having the night lights on to show us what the phrases are. This is very tough to keep a track of not just where things are, but remember where they are, because obviously you can't just refer back to it and go, oh, I can check it's there. You wouldn't necessarily be able to do that all the time. They've actually both had 2 very good phrases to start with. They've got the same phrase here for the third one as well. So it's really all about execution at this point before we go into who takes the lead at the end of this level. It's perfect timing for the race. I assure you we haven't made this up. This is not prearranged. This is just wonderful RNG of the game. In fact, I think we've got 8 phrases. Yeah, there's 8 phrases for this level. There's only 5 of them that are really ideal, and we need to input 4 of them. And we do have a bit of a difference here on the final one, where it's a much nicer final phrase for Alecat and Nicosar. So they'll probably get a little bit of an advantage here off the back of that. And that's just because even though obviously you've got various phrases, they'll have different issues about them. So for the cut-up messages levels like that, for some of the phrases you might only need to cut up 1 word. For some of them you'll need to cut up 2 or 3 words, and you won't use all parts of the words that you've cut up as well. So we'll have something what we're calling like waste parts or waste words. So when you cut something up, you'll need to use one half of the string, but the other half you'll have to just dump somewhere because you'll never need to use it in that or another phrase. And that can really obviously slow you down because you have to take it off the cutter before you can reuse it again to cut up another board. But then we're on to the next level, which is particularly tricky. Another bit of RNG can hurt us here. Because there are 3 different types of things here. So obviously Alecat and Nicosar have got the hidden phrase there, so you just have to keep track of what you're typing. Bowden's ended up with a really, really fast version of the level, which is called double input, which is brilliant because you can hit 2 letters at a time, and you have to progress it. It won't take it unless both KeyWes go to input a letter at the same time. But then obviously Bowden is showing us the electric KeyWe part of it, where the blue KeyWe can only hit the blue letters and the red KeyWe can only hit the red letters. Now, with what you were talking about earlier, Quill, this is particularly frustrating for me because you could be chasing after one letter and then just as you get there it switches and it becomes not just the other side of the board, but it becomes the other KeyWe's responsibility to hit it because it changes colour as well sometimes, and trying to keep track of that is very frustrating.
It's real painful. It's a struggle, to be honest.
I think as well, Nicosar and Alecat have ended up with 2 sets of hidden inputs, which is really, really nice. And let's see what Bowden's going to get for his last one as well. He's ended up with a second double hidden input as well, which is fine. If you wanted to get the fastest run off this, you wouldn't just obviously want the right phrase RNG, you would want the right RNG of which of the 3 types of input on that level are going to be duplicated. You definitely don't want the electric KeyWe where one of you's red and one of you's blue. You definitely want either the hidden input or the double input. Double input is ideal because it also highlights where the letters are. So both you don't have to think about the phrase you're spelling. You just run to wherever is lit up and fast as you can, put it in before things move.
I'd like to mention, if you're enjoying this run, please donate to the cause, and I will read it out loud. You can tell me anything to say, and I'll say it as long as it's stream appropriate.
Anything you say, Quill.
Anything at all.
That's an offer you don't get. Yes, I was going to say, that's an offer you don't get very often, as long as it's stream appropriate, of course. So now, at this point in fall, we've had a bit of rain. Zoe, our octopus friend, who also helps around in the post office, her basement's got flooded. This is terrible. And I don't know, I hope people have waterproofed these packages before they've sent them, because otherwise everything's going to be ruined by the time it gets to the place it's going to go to.
Those are cardboard boxes. This is 100% damaged goods right now.
Oh, I hope they're wrapped in some waterproof tape of some kind, because otherwise we're going to get in trouble with insurance.
I think you're going to get in trouble with insurance either way. You have 2 Kiwis packaging your stuff with an octopus labeling it, and cassowaries delivering it.
Well, things are just a bit different down in New Zealand, I suppose.
Flocky, would you like to chime in on this?
I was going to say,
tell us how you feel in chat.
First-hand experience, I'll say, yeah, the Kiwi's always coming around every week delivering my mail. Regular occurrence. Nothing to see here. And then moving on, so we're just after halfway in fall now. I'd still call this a parcel crane. Therefore, there's no crane involved, but our Kiwis have got a hold of a flying machine. It sounds almost deadly, leaving them in control of some jetpacks, so they don't have to do the double jumping, as we have seen them doing throughout the run. But now they've got the aid of the jetpacks and this flying mechanical contraption to prepare the parcels. Let's not let OSHA anywhere near this, because I think they'll have a few things to say.
Down with OSHA. Let the Kiwis reign.
Absolutely, but the principle remains the same. It's still the 2 stickers on the parcel lid. Obviously there's these little roving machines, and the stickers do switch between them, you might see as well. So there'll be a bit of a timing to that, so you might get a little bit of a time loss if you're running to one and it just switches. But that's why you'll often see both sets of players preparing, and you see dumping stickers. Like we see 2 fragiles dumped there near the parcel lids dispenser for Nicosar and Alecat, and we see a heavy dumped there by Bowden, just so obviously they can keep track and get ahead of it, and just prepare as many different varieties as you can, because you don't know what the package is coming down with.
I'm a big fan of the flying machine in this level especially. It's fun to just ride around to get your stuff, and even when you're looking for some of those collectibles you mentioned earlier, using the flying machine to explore and look up higher is a very good time.
Oh, absolutely. And if everyone's wondering, well, there's 2 KeyWes on there and you both have to be on there for it to launch. How does it work? Well, it's the same as the crane, where one of you is controlling the vertical, one of you is controlling the horizontal movement. Don't worry, you're not fighting against each other, and both of you trying to control horizontal and vertical at the same time, getting in a tiz, having an argument or something, going to bed angry at each other that night. No. One of you is just controlling the horizontal and one of you the vertical movement. So it is still split up responsibility. It shouldn't cause too many problems. And we will see that flying contraption again one more time later on. We're moving into Halloween, obviously. What is fall without Halloween, or as we call it in KeyWe, Wicketide. So it's Happy Wicketide, and our cassowaries, and we see through their disguises. They may have these clever boxes on their heads to celebrate the festive time with us, but they are still cassowaries at the end of the day. They're not as clever as they think they are. They need some candy as well. So they'll be there with their little wants and wishes, and you have to feed them, or they'll start pecking. And what it'll do is it'll input a Z, and you don't need a Z for any of these phrases. You have to go and delete it if you don't feed them in time, because they're quite boisterous.
They're jerks.
They are. And you'll see that there was a difference in the phrases as they were being transmitted on the top of the board, that they were flipped upside down, just to make it that little bit harder to read. A nice little trick. And one of my favourite levels, this is Zoe's Tracks of Terror.
I love this one.
It's so unique. It's the only one that I would call a genuinely unique level. It doesn't fit in any other category. And there's 2 different setups that you can get here. There's only 2 iterations, and Alecat and Nicosar have got the really, really fast one, the much better one, and Bowden's got the slower one here. So Bowden's probably going to lose around about 10 to 15 seconds just from getting bad RNG on the version that he's got here. And every time, whenever we're running this, for Kurtal and I'll always remark that it's our chance at another world record, because it's really, really tough. But this is the only version you can get it in, and there isn't much wiggle room. It's all about trying to get the frame perfect inputs for when you can push these buttons to scare Zoe's little octopus children. No, sorry, not children, nieces and nephews, and then send them into the right door on the Tracks of Terror. And let's see, it should be a sub-minute for Alecat and Nicosar, and it is. And for Bowden, I imagine we'll probably see about a 110 or 115, because it is that bit slower of a level. It is that trickier. Let's see if he beats that. It's fantastic. A 105 is a fantastic time for that level. That really is. That can't be sniffed at all. And then, so now we're moving on to Casso Scary. So this is quite a tricky one. You can't die in this level, well, you can't die in any of the levels, because you always get parachuted back if you fall off the edge. But this level, you'll get teleported straight back up if you happen to fall into the dark and spooky mist of Casso Scary. But as you can see, it's the same principle that we've had it before for the cut-up messages. You've got some words which can just go straight on as part of a phrase, and you've got some that you need to cut up into parts here. And our Casso Scaries, our cassowaries are still in the festive mood. They've got their sort of like bucket head costumes on to participate in it. And let's see how we get on with this. It might be, if you do have any donations, a good time for it as well, Quill.
I don't have a donation for you right now, but I can tell you about...
Oh, about? We lost you there, Quill, sorry.
Oh, heck. I dropped my hand off of the push to talk button. Completely forgot what I was doing.
That's okay.
I'm going to tell you about the charity. Save the Children is a wonderful charity that promotes and helps with saving the children. And did you know that a $100 from what we're supporting them with today can fill a bookshelf for children in rural poverty where most don't own a single book? If you didn't know, books contain a lot of information where you can learn a lot of things, and that's something that children need to do to be better off in their future. So please get some donations in. I'd love to read them for you and help out the charity.
That's great. It really is a good cause. Thank you very much for that, Quill. Let's see, where are we here now? So we have Alecat and Nicosar just finishing up their final phrase, while Bowden's just beginning it here. So that's still around about that 15-20 seconds behind, I would say. It's very close though, almost all tied up, going into the final level of 4. Let's see what the time was. 2:33, respectable. I think that's got about a minute's grace to gold. I think the gold timing on that is 3:20 or 3:30, and that's probably one of the closer levels, I would say. If you can make a mistake on that one, Quill, that's where you'll get close to gold occasionally. But like I say, both these sets of runners have become so proficient at it over so many dozens of runs that they've done that there's little risk of it now. But it is a tricky one in my experience, getting gold in that one. And yes, the final level. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, I really love that the end of fall has this like set of levels that are based on like a theme. I thought that was a really, really fun addition that really mixed it up a little bit from how summer went pretty much all the same kind of theme. They just had different elements. These elements fitting a theme really makes this week of the game very interesting and fun.
Oh, especially. And all the different sort of like scenarios you get when each different thing appears. I'm sure you will have seen there was a lot of vegetation when the tomato appeared on Bowden's run there. My favourite one happens to be when the anchor appears to send it, because when you get that, then just there's water everywhere that floods the screen almost. It just comes up to the bottom of the level of the keys on the typewriter, and it persists for a little bit into the one after that when you can send it. So there we go, you get all the luscious vegetation when the tomato is there for sending on Nicosar's and Alecat's screen there. And it's also got a really nice collectible way to achieve a collectible on this level that involves the witch's cauldron in the top left of the screen that you wouldn't go near otherwise, but it's just part of the nice world building of the levels that is really good in this game. It's really, really rich. It's probably a good time to talk about a few of the other parts of the game that we won't see in the full run, but you can enjoy if this interests you in a casual run. So there are also overtime levels, which are unique, and there's 9 of them for just single experiences to get extra stamps that you use to purchase the cosmetics in the game. And they're all really fun. There's different like musical rhythm sort of games, and just little snowball throwing ones. There's different ones timed, sort of themed, 3 different ones themed for each different season. And they're really, really good. And then there was also a DLC a few months ago, which is sort of almost Olympic Games themed, I suppose, which is like a multi-part race. And they're about 3 to 5 minutes long. And yeah, it's a very, very different experience. Again, still using the same core platformer and puzzle solving mechanics, but just applying it in a different fashion to what we've got here in the main game.
I'm definitely going to have to check out that DLC because I had not heard of it until today.
Well, there you go. There's the incentive. Hopefully seeing this and hearing about it might get you to look it up. It's also got some of those extra cosmetics I was talking about, like the shoes that you can wear and the arms as well. If you're a big fan of distracting cosmetics to make your wife laugh, I can definitely say the little green T-Rex arms or the big beefy burly arms are perfect for it.
I will definitely have to check that out as soon as I'm done here. And I would like to throw in real quick, we got a $100 anonymous donation right after I had read about the charity that said, there, you have a bookshelf. So thank you very much to that anonymous donor.
That is amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. That is wonderful. And then we're back to the cut-up messages here on the second level of Winter, as we're getting close. Obviously, nearing the end here in the final of the 3 seasons that our KeyWes have to complete, but it is the longest one by a little way. Summer is by far the shortest. Fall and Winter are close in terms of their total length, but Winter is still a minute and a half longer on average, I would say. And what you'll see from Alecat and Nicosar is, I think, a really interesting way of completing this, where they're almost, one of them's doing a different phrase at a time. So they're not just working on the same phrasing here, and they'll be working on 2 separate ones. But then if someone sees, they'll know what the other person's doing, and then they'll come over and help them out and then sort it out. And then to save time as well, once they've got one phrase complete, if they're both there and they're in agreement that the timing is right to do, they'll jump on the toaster, pop up the letter, and make sure they can buckle that letter away and get it sent away. Because if you completed all the letters, you'd actually be waiting around about 3 or 4 seconds between a cassowary disappearing and when you could prepare the next letter to get there. So this is the most efficient way to do it, just getting each letter sent before coming back to complete the next one. Just got the one phrase left to go.
I think one of the biggest differences of Winter for a casual player is that the timer is different. It's not just counting down from the max. As you do things, you're seeing these little +8s or whatever appear on the screen. Those are an amount of time that you're adding to that clock to say how much time you have left before the round will just be over, and it will end your whole experience there. You have to try the entire level from scratch if you run out of time. Which we probably, unless there's a catastrophe, won't be seeing here today.
No, we shouldn't be seeing that. I should mention as well, though, obviously, Alecat and Nicosar are playing this local co-op. You can get into some difficulties when you play this online co-op. There are a few desync issues that appear occasionally. Still very rarely, I hasten to add. It's not, they're not common occurrences, but they can happen that you might need to restart a level. I know I've lost a couple of runs to that sometimes. It's just the way it is being online co-op. It's the difficulties of it, I suppose. And yeah, as we see Alecat and Nicosar go between their sets of things, what you'll see is how they prep and try and speed up the sending of the parcels as they come down, because they can only be pushed from the left to the right. You can't push them from the right to the left. It's just a quirk of how this particular level is, these parcels. So you'll see they go to the top left when the parcels spawn, and they'll push that one. And then when the parcel falls down from the top right, they'll push it all the way along from the left to the right, because you can only push them in that direction. I don't know quite why it works that way, but that's how it does, and that's how they save a bit of time rather than just waiting for the parcels to drop in normally, as they would do. Yeah, this I think is the last time we'll see the flying contraption as well, or at least the 2-man flying contraption. We will see a singular KeyWe vehicular sort of flying contraption later, but say goodbye to our 2-person, our 2 KeyWe 1 here. The tricky thing for me on this sort of level as well is that there are 12 different parcels that you might send, but obviously you only need to send 6 of them. There's 2 at a time for 3 times, and trying to keep all 12 variations in your head of obviously where they need to go and also what stickers they need is very difficult. I always get lost and have to refer to my notes. I don't think I saw anyone referring to any notes there. I think these guys are well studied, well practiced. They know exactly where everything's going. But yeah, it's definitely that ramp up in difficulty, going from at most 8 different iterations up to 12 suddenly. It's quite difficult.
Even when reading them directly during my casual playthrough, would forget mid doing them. Just having two in my head at a time is too much for me.
I think that's very believable. I can very much relate with that. And this is quite nice. So we've had Alecat and Nicosar lose a bit of time because they've had to delete a couple of letters there on these first two phrases of the 4 they've got to send in, and you saw that where they went to a letter where it was, and as they were just inputting it, it switched on them, and that's the peril of these later levels in Fall and Winter, is those letters can switch on you at just the wrong time and really mess you around. The other thing to be aware of, because you've got the 2 phrases, the clocks are ticking down at the same time as well. So you'll see you'll see it on both screens, that they're so fast that they'll complete the whole phrase before they need to switch and do the first word of the other phrase. But it can be the case, I believe there's a phrase that begins with I, which, because it's quite a much shorter word, will tick that much faster. So you might see people switch to that and actually do that phrase first.
Yeah, when they have the short letters and the timer's lower, it's so much easier to just accidentally let it go too long, and then the letter switches on you, and then you've messed up the whole thing, have to start over.
No such pitfalls for our co-op runners here, though. Really good time. And here on to what I would like to think these next 2 levels are specialities of Alecat and Nicosar. I hope I don't put them under too much pressure by saying that. But they have the world record on both by quite a margin through one way. So let's just talk about, hopefully we can see them hit the 4 cycle. It's very rare to get it in run. It's very difficult. You'll see the phrase comes up, and what it will say, it will give you clues as to what 3 doughs you need, whether it's the sugar dough or the chocolate dough, and 2 toppings that it needs. So the I love chocolate is because it needs chocolate dough, chocolate topping, and chocolate topping that you'll put in. They've just missed the perfect cycle, but that's okay. They're still on for a really good time here.
This wasn't perfect?
This wasn't perfect, no.
I think you're lying to me.
It's not. This is probably, I'm looking at this, it's probably going to end up being about, I think it's about a 120 or so. I believe their record is a 106 on this, because what you aim to do is to get 1 into the baking machine and collect all the cookies from it and put it into and take them off so that the next one goes straight in before it cycles around. Oh, that's insane. That's really good. They did get a really good cycle.
That's ridiculous.
There you go. It's a 107. So that's a second off one.
I am stunned. Absolutely stunned.
Well, looking at Bowden, I must have missed them actually hit the cycle. Apologies for that then. That's insane.
I love this one. It's so cute.
Yeah, this is where Bowden will lose a bit of time on Bake Off, just because it needs such precise timing to hit that perfect cycle for it, that it's just, as a single player, you couldn't be expected to do that really. And the same with this one, there's Parts and Crafts, which is extremely cute, but it's really easy when you figure out, once Alecat had figured out that there's only 2 sets of patterns to this. So yeah, each of the 4 faces there can only be in one of 2 configurations, and if you know what you are on, you know exactly the pattern and exactly the parts required for every other face there as well. So that's quite a good time.
32 seconds.
32 seconds. Do you want to hazard a guess at what their record is for that one?
It's got to be close to 32, right?
Oh, it's nowhere near. It's 21.59.
What?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. When I saw them go below 30, I thought it was amazing. They just kept pushing it and pushing it. I sub 20 is possible. I think it's difficult, but it's possible.
I'd like to point out
it's a lot of
this is the
grinding.
worst level in the game. Also, what's the name of Christmas in this universe?
It's winter, so This is it's called winter when you're doing the seasons.
No, yeah, but they're
In terms of what they celebrate Christmas. Oh dear, you put me on the spot there, and I can't think now.
I'm just gonna look when it goes to a loading screen and
Yeah,
hope for the best.
it's Wickertide, and then it's Holly Jostle, of course, because this is the Holly Jostle Tinker track. It's
Yeah.
Holly Jostle,
Also known as the worst level. Hate this level. Everything's moving. You cannot keep up with it.
You mean you don't like the toy train, just taking the letters out and hiding them around the back sometimes?
I do not like all of the letters being hidden at any given time.
Some of the letters being covered by the postman, their little toy postman, and also trees just popping up and blocking some bits. Oh, yeah, not tricky in the slightest, right? This is quite a long level though, and it's quite tricky as well. It does have quite a lot of pitfalls that you can fall into on it. Like Will's saying, he hates it for good reason. Yeah, there is all that switching. Obviously, you've got the phrase RNG. There's so many different layers to the RNG that makes getting a good time on this reliably on run very unreliable. Funnily enough.
Yeah, and if you were looking at Nicosar and Alecat's stream, you saw that the word "this" was there on the phrase that they're working on currently. They just sent it in, but that phrase or that "this" got down to about a quarter of the time left, and seeing that is crazy to me because even getting it only that far and completing a whole other phrase is just so good. I can't tell you how many times we lost on this level because it's so hard to keep up with everything going on at the same time.
Totally. So they have got quite a nice parcel here. So there are only so many different variations. For this one, I think there's only 6 variations of parcels and letters, and they are fixed every time. So if you get one set of parcels you can see, you'll know what letters you need for it as well. So they are all paired up for all these sorts of levels. And I think there's 4 quite nice ones here. That was a good one. This one's okay that they've ended up getting. It's a little bit slower, but it's not too bad. But the nice thing is when you see those parcels, they try to do the fancy little glitch. So you can, with this, pull the parcel onto the conveyor belt and push it into the send bit without it falling off the other end. Obviously, as for these conveyors, you would usually have to have a KeyWe or a parcel, something blocking a conveyor on the other side of it to stop it actually working. It will actually just turn the conveyor belt off temporarily. But you can glitch it out and push it in, and sort of like turn it off and block it yourself. They attempted it and just missed it, which is unfortunate, but it's only about a 5-second time loss from that. Would have been really fancy if they made it though.
Yeah, that is. I didn't realize that was a thing that could happen, but that's a really cool glitch, and I would love to have seen that happen there.
They're often ones to go for it. They're the ones that discovered it, and definitely the best at executing it. It's tricky though. It's very tricky. I personally would never go for it in a run. I'm really bad at even trying it though, so that's probably why.
Well,
the last major cutscene we'll see is there as well. It's just been skipped.
I would love to point out real quick before we get to the end here, follow the runners and commentator here because this game is very, very cool. If you want to see more of it, I'm sure you can find more through these guys. So give them all a follow. Their names are on the screen. Well, Lithify, I don't think your name's on the screen.
I don't think so. That's okay.
What's your Twitch?
My Twitch is the same. Twitch.tv/Lithify. That's LITHIFI. I don't stream too often. I've only just started streaming the last month or so. But yeah, definitely will be a bit more after picking that up recently. So an interesting level that Alecat and Nicosar have moved onto here with Approaching Storm, because Really, your first 3 of the 4 phrases don't matter. They could be anything, and it's absolutely fine because you're on a timer, and the level won't actually progress and give you the next phrase until it's hit a certain time, and it is a fixed time, the level. So like you see here, Nicosar's just grooving out. He's waiting for the third, and you get them both joining in there, just waiting for the third phrase to come along, and then they'll probably get that one done and have another wait for the 4th phrase as well. So really, when you're looking at the total level time for this one, the 4th phrase is the only one that matters out of the lot, and I think there's 12 different phrases here, and your ultimate time for the level is decided by 1. Very unforgiving.
That's gross.
Unlucky for Bowden as well, because he got technically the shortest and the best phrase there. He got it in the first one, so he's guaranteed to have lost that one from the pool, which is unfortunate. But it's not just about the phrase RNG, it's also about where the letters are placed, obviously. If they switch on you, can you go to them in quick sequence, one after the other? Are they located nearby in a logical progression order? Whereas Alecat and Nicosar got the perfect phrase there at the end. The RNG was not ideal, getting the W all the way out on the far right. So that is going to slow him down. So that was unfortunate. Yeah, perfect phrase, poor letter placement. So yeah, even with something going your way, not everything does. But that's still only 4 seconds down on the world record.
I also thought it was really interesting. Summer had no event, and then fall has Wickertide, and then winter has Holly Jostle and death.
Yes, the blizzard of doom that's approaching. It's come down off the mountains of New Zealand. Yeah, everyone has to take shelter, prepare yourself. There are lots of really good, like we were talking earlier, about the thematic sort of phrases and these letters that are sent telling a story. The phrases within the level as well are quite good at painting that picture. So you can keep an eye on them through that as well. Obviously Bowden had icy road conditions at the end there. Not a bad final phrase. And quite decent placement as well for the letters. And see, 209.65, a longer phrase, a worse phrase, but a second faster in terms of the total level time. So just goes to show, it's not just about the phrase RNG, it's all about that letter placement as well. It's a tricky balance. And we're on to the last 3 levels here of the run. We've got the other tricky thing, like you said, it's the perils of winter. It's the danger here. So you'll see Alecat has picked up the the lantern there, and so that's just so that our KeyWes can just about stay warm enough to not freeze over. You might see it on occasion. They'll turn to ice, perhaps, if they let the lantern sort of go out in the winds, because it is on a timer. It won't stay permanently lit. You do have to take it back to the master lantern to keep it relit. But they're nearly done. You'll also see with the cassowaries here on this level that they don't actually have to both go to send letters. They don't have to buckle it. All they have to do is put in the letter into the carrying pouch, but then provide the cassowaries with some nice warming cocoa. So they don't freeze up on their journey delivering, which is very pleasant. And the penultimate level for Alecat and Nicosar, which I like to call a sort of collection level, similar to how we had their 2 speciality levels, the Bake Off with the cookies, and then the Parts and Crafts, the really quick short one afterwards. Here you've got 6 different parcels that come through, and you've got 3 different things to put inside them. There are 8 different iterations here, so you'll use 6 out of your 8, 75%. So when it comes to the final one, as these are all sent through on a timer. Again, it's not based about when you sent them through. These are also being put in and supplied on a timer. You can have a guess. You can really hazard a guess at the last one, and this is another level where really your final time is decided by how good you can do the last parcel that you're sending off. I really like what they're doing here with the water bottles in particular, though they're a bit unlucky that they've got 2 water bottles in the middle next to the central placement, because if you clear that off, the new parcel will always appear in the middle, then the left, then the right, in that order if the previous space is filled effectively. So yeah, they've used one of the water bottles there to save a bit of time, which is fine. Ideally, you'd want 2 different things there, and then what you could do is hazard a guess at the final one you needed, is to basically have both of those nearby, because obviously you've got the shorter travelling distance, and you can quickly fill up and put the lid and send off that final parcel to get the best time possible. So minor unfortunate circumstance for them. I think they've guessed correctly. They have. It was all electricals. It was a battery, a radio, and a torch. Should be a really good time. 1:38.9, really good. Just 3 seconds off the world record on that. Fantastic stuff. And on to the final level for Alecat and Nicosar, and this is what is a medley. You can't put it down to one thing. You'll show all different disciplines that we've seen, but in their own unique style.
So, hello. We unfortunately lost Bowden. Now leave the rest of the talking to Livify.
Thank you for that. So yeah, it's a real shame we lost Bowden there. About a minute down on Alecat and Nicosar when they finished there. But a really, really close race by the runners there. It's really tough winter, just separating them, which is really easy to happen because winter is really difficult and very, very different in its average sort of time length there. So a really good race from both runners and both sets of runners. And thank you very much for that, guys. And I think we might have Alecat and Nicosar able to talk us. Yeah.
Balanced on audio properly, but we're here.
Yeah, you sound quite good to me. That's really good.
Cool.
Really great run, guys. Well done. That was
thank
really
you.
good.
We
Do you have anything you want to say to obviously the stream for everyone?
I mean, obviously, it was exactly as you said. Winter is so swingy.
Yeah, super swingy.
We got very fortunate.
Yeah. No, we had some fun stuff. I found a new bug in that run. I don't know if you noticed, but you know, the mailfly picked me up, and it didn't pick me up at the same time, so that was fun. I'll go check that out later.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you so much for commentating, and Bowden, thank you for being an amazing competitor as well.
No problem.
Yeah, no, I think we had a death wager as well.
Oh yes,
for
that's
those
right.
donations.
So
I think we're at 3 for that.
we think we died 3 times. So yeah, we'll be donating to
match that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just so great to get a chance to show this game off.
Yeah.
Like it's such a sweet little game. There's so many fun little things about it.
Yeah.
And it's just so amazing to have had this opportunity to show it off with such a great chance to showcase the community. What everyone can do.
If we're allowed to do a little plug for if you missed listening to us, I don't know who would, but we are actually going to show this game off as well in a week's time on the Games Done Quick hotfix show. It's dangerous to go alone, so keep an eye out for that as well.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't think I've got anything more to say other than once again, shout outs to everyone who runs KeyWe. If anyone watching would like to pick the game up, it's super easy to get the basics of. There's no scary hidden techniques. It's just be willing to move your fingers really fast and push buttons a lot. If you want to
doubly fast, if you want to be like Bowden.
Yeah, like that's just wave goodbye to your long-term finger prospects.
Yeah,
I feel
it's fine. It's fine.
How much you get done there? It's worth it.
Yeah. Bowden, anything from you?
I mean, I want to thank you guys as well for giving me the motivation to really try to get good at single player. And also I died once, I think, because of a bug on the second to last level.
Oh no!
Where you go into the left one and it just goes underneath the.
Yeah, I know, and you're in the negative zone.
So I think that's one death from me, and thanks to everyone who runs KeyWe, and thanks to Lithify for commentating.
Yeah.
No, thank you guys for inviting me. I hope everyone's really enjoyed the run. That was a really, really good showcase, a really close race. Really shows the technical skill of both sets of runners there, which is excellent. And please, like I say, we're a really small community, so don't feel scared. You've pretty much met a lot of us here already on stream. And if you want to join, obviously you can see out details on speedrun.com, and you can find the Discord link from there as well, and join us out. If you've got any questions, let us know. But otherwise, I think probably handing back to you, Quill, and you can take us away.
All right. Thank you. Remember to follow the runners. I saw Reichelt posted in the chat. Just scroll up and click the follow button. And we really appreciate you guys running this and hope to see you back at another Speed Docs Marathon again. But we'll go ahead and throw it to an intermission, and we'll be back with Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door soon.